Hey Coaster friends, it's Adam here from Pause Games and welcome back to Planet Coaster 2. Welcome back to Mystic Reef, our waterpark build here in the new game. So if you go on to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of the content. Right then, so we are back inside Mystic Reef today and we're doing a little bit of building. So I kind of got the bug in the last episode. We put together some little gazebo, you know what they're called? I keep forgetting what they're called. I want to keep saying pagoda, but that's not right. Oh, whatever. We built some things in the last episode. No, those VIP things that you cabanas. I keep forgetting the word. We built some cabanas in the last episode, and I kind of got the bug for it. So in this one, we're also doing a little bit of building, and this right here is going to become a changing room, a toilet block, and a locker facility. So we're kind of all in one. So I'm kind of going down that the American approach to water parks, where you've got a few different locker changing room buildings dotted around here and there, kind of like Volcano Bay does. So you've got sort of like a few different options. So like I say, in here is going to be some lockers, which we do add in at the end of the video, and then we also have some toilets and changing rooms. Obviously at the moment we can't put in the barriers in the paths, so there's a little bit of clipping. Well, we can put barriers in paths, but not easily. So there is a bit of clipping through the walls, but we'll fix that once the barriers get sorted out. We do, like I say, put some lockers in here. The lockers that I've used are from the workshop, because they're perfect, they're great, so we're using them. Talking about the workshop, I don't think it's in this footage, but there was a little bit of time where I really struggled to access the workshop. It's the first time I've been in there. I could see listings, but I just couldn't see any pictures, thumbnails, and nothing would download. So I don't know if it's just a little bug because it's the first time I used it, I'm not sure, but just thought I'd mention it, that I came across that. Since I've come back into the game today to finish up a few little bits, because this footage you're watching now is over the course of about 3 days. But yeah, coming in today, it all worked fine. Blueprints have downloaded, and yeah, we put the lockers in towards the end, and it looks alright. Everything in this park that I've built is kind of a little big in terms of guest size, but then I've kind of just have to go with that aesthetic now. So the lockers do look a little bit lost in there, but then I don't mind the whole high ceiling thing, because it kind of just implies the place has got a bit of budget, so it kind of works. So until we get unless we get actual usable lockers in the game, the blueprints are going to be fine. So we go with that. Hopefully that is something we do get, actually, lockers and sort of specifics. And I kind of hope that they change the concept of changing rooms from the black box. I'd kind of prefer it so you could just build like a standalone cubicle. I don't know. I just don't like the concept. I much prefer the way Planet Zoo handle those sort of things, where, like, for the staff services buildings, where you can sort of see inside them and they're actually furnished. I think that's a much better approach. So I do hope they do add that down the line, but I don't know. We'll see. But certainly when it comes to building my big Alton Towers recreation, I'd like there to be actual cubicles and more realistic stuff that I can put in there. And being honest with you guys, that is the main reason why I haven't even thought about starting that project just yet. I think we need to wait until the game is a little bit more stable and maybe got a few more features, because most of the stuff I can recreate right now, but I want to kind of wait and see if certain things come to make that a bit easier. For example, yes, we can build climbing structures and play structures, but they're currently just sort of themed, and just, you know what I mean, they're made of theming, they're not actually usable in terms of like interactive features for guests to use, like wheels and ropes and things. I feel like that would be quite a good addition if we could build actual play structures and splash pads and things like that. So adding those kind of things into the game, a little splash pad feature that guests will interact with, I think would be quite good, and I can kind of see it coming, hopefully as a DLC or an update at some point. So we'll see what happens. So just as an update on the Alton Towers build, I think until we start actually building anything like that properly, until that series starts, realistically I think it's going to be in the new year. So just for anybody that's wondering or waiting around for that, obviously that doesn't mean we're not going to have anything on the channel. This park will continue to be built, and we might do a few sort of standalone things. I still want to play around with some of the new coasters. I did start a little sort of the drop track type interactive coaster, but it just didn't really turn out very well, so I'm scrapping that. But it's something we might end up going back to, because I do like building dark rides. So we'll see how we get on the next couple of months. Anyway, back to the build. So as you can see, it's very sort of loosely inspired by a building that is in Volcano Bay, I think was my reference image. The only real similarities is the shape and the sign at the front, and this kind of just open concept. I mean, their version has a bit more of an ornate roof. It's kind of a lot of sort of stylized bamboo, which I didn't want to tackle, and B, didn't think I'd be able to do it well enough. So that's why we ended up just using the thatch. And I think it works quite well, but I wanted to keep it quite open for this communal locker area in the middle, and then your changing facilities are hidden away more at the back. And again, we're implying a little bit of realism, that one side would be male, one side would be female. Just obviously we can't stipulate that in the game, but there it is. And in terms of actual usable stuff in there, there are 3 changing cubicles each side and 1 toilet. So it does end up being quite a usable piece. We very loosely colour code these buildings, because I do make it the blueprint here, because I do duplicate it to the other side of the park. So one ends up being blue, one ends up being green, I think. Just again, in the real world, they'd probably have different names, or it'd be like west changing or east, I don't know, something like that. But for the purpose of the game, there's 2, we colour code them, happy days. So a few bits and pieces here in this first clip. Then we do, like I say, jump a few days into some more stuff. So there's a bit more in this video, don't worry. There's more stuff than just this building. But yeah, we stick this each side of the park. So kind of as you come in now, pretty much equidistant to the entrance, you've got one of these locker facility buildings. We'll probably end up adding at least 1, if not 2 more around the park as we sort of start building around the wave pool, because that's kind of what we're going to do, to build a few of the bigger slides and things at the back. So a couple more of these probably around the park. 4 I think would be quite realistic for a park of this size. Right, into the next clip. So massive thank, and again I'm so sorry I haven't got the YouTube comments up in front of me, but massive thank you to whoever it is that left the comment to tell me how to make these platforms. For anyone that doesn't know, and I'm sure everyone knows by now, when you're placing a platform, a flume platform, and want to build the queue off it, if you just want it to be an entrance and not stairs, you press Control and it switches it out. Again, I'm sure everyone knows that by now. I didn't, and I do now. So thank you ever so much whoever left that in the comments. Really useful. So we go back and edit this, because I didn't like the stairs, it looked awful. And we just sort of terrain it in a little bit to make it look a bit more natural. Because I don't really want there to be a lot of staircases and things all around the park. So I think we need to use a lot of rocks and terrain to start adding a little bit of height to the area. And that's something we'll start to do as we expand around this back side, to sort of build a few more terrain hugging rides. When we start getting to like the raft slides and things, we will start doing that a little bit more organic. And talking about slides, this footage, this footage you're watching now was filmed before the hotfix that fixes the slides. And notice how nobody's riding it and there is no queue. Just want to note that for later on, because when we get to the next clip where it's filmed today, I have time lapse and about an hour and a half of footage I've just done before this record. It's significantly busier, so they've definitely fixed that issue. I haven't had a chance just yet to test out the physics on sort of the other slides and the tube slides, but that's something we'll venture and have a look at some point. But certainly the guess using the slides has been fixed, and that kind of also links on to the last clip, like I said, of what we've done today, where we do build another slide, and that footage I think is here. So this, like I say, now is today, time of recording this, and I'm just doing a few little tweaks here where we're putting in some more seating, and because that seems to be fixed now as well. Guess using those. So we put some more of these in. Do a little bit of work on the pathing. One thing I did off camera before I started recording actually is I've shrunk down the wave pool. I've sort of took one row of pool off either side of it. It was just a little bit too big, and I had a little play around with the waves. Still can't get them working very well, but it's certainly size-wise now it's scaled a little bit better. So yeah, the wave pool has shrunk down a little bit. We do utilise that space sort of towards the end of this video, and we sort of put a load of training. So it looks, from first glance, you probably wouldn't tell it's a bit smaller, but it's certainly a bit more realistic now anyway. And then we just add a little bit of curved to the pool to try and make it sort of a little bit better, just to take that sharp edge away. So a little bit of tweaking around the back of there, because we've shrunk it down, so a bit of work to do. So it's this last bit of time lapse is a lot of toing and froing and just sort of looking around and trying to just finish up some little bits. So here we add a little waterfall again, just to give it a little bit of kinetic energy, and it's the sort of thing I think you'd see just off to the side, little feature. You can go under it if you want, maybe not. But I really like these waterfall pieces. And since I've got the new graphics card now, I can actually use them, because they don't break my game like they did on my old one. I was trying to figure out if I could fit in a grid or a grate or something there to imply where it sort of where the water's coming from. Couldn't figure it out. I'm sure at some point we'll stick a pipe or something there. Not that anyone will ever see it, but at least we'll know it's there and we can pretend it's real. So this is one of those areas I mentioned where the pool used to be. And I'm just sort of filling it out with a bit of rock to just make things look a little bit organic. I don't want to add slides and things sort of really visible from the entrance and around this wave pool, because I want to keep stuff in its own little area. So that's why we're keeping it sort of light and planted, to sort of make it look a little bit more attractive. But we do fill here on the other side. We use some of these little cabanas that we made in the last episode. I remembered it that time. I remember the word. These cabanas, we put another 4 here. And I think the idea is we'll just sort of span these around in different areas. Again, we're slightly colour coding them. These are the orange cabanas, so in real life you can sort of pick an area. So there'll be like the wave pool cabanas, the lazy river ones, there'll be some more around the back, you know what I mean. So we're sort of trying to make it as realistic as we can. A little bit of planting, add a little bit of colour here with the reds, keeping everything sort of the tropical style of plants, but just adding a few little extras in, just to give it a little bit of variation, because as much as everything looks really nice and lush and tropical, it's nice to have a little bit of variation and colour. A little bit of tweaking at the back of the wave pool. Like I said, we did pull it in both sides, so we just sort of make that all look a little bit better. A few things we deleted, but generally it's pretty much all that's there before, and I think it makes quite a nice little backdrop. And we added quite a lot of the wave spout things in there to try and make it better, and it definitely does work a little bit better. Still not as much as I was hoping, but it's fine. I think at some point we might add those to a sequencer if you can, but I don't know if that's been fixed yet. So I believe when the game first came out you couldn't sequence the wave machines, so we'll see. That might have been fixed by now, but if not, we'll wait. A little bit more theming around, and as I mentioned before, to keep an eye on these cues for these slides, because there are cues now. So they've obviously fixed that. Guess, do you want to ride the flumes? And off the back of that we add a second one to our play structure, just a small simple little flume just to move people around. We make one green and one blue, because we didn't colour it when we built it, and it's something I meant to go back to. We have had a little bit of theming around the slides, and you might have noticed in the footage earlier on, actually we did the same to the trio of slides that we added in one of the first episodes. I just added a very little light theme of wood around the slide. I think of this more of like a cladding rather than actual theming, as the sort of thing these kind of parts would do. So you're getting on the slide, the metal railing still there, but on the outside of it, it kind of has the impression of the wood. It's kind of, I've done that on purpose and left the metal there, because I feel like that sort of thing is what they do. They'd attach the wooden sort of theming to the metal. So that's why that's still there, if you're wondering. I found a couple of these really cool little signs on the workshop, which I thought they were quite nice. So we're going to add these to just as a very generic entrance sort of signs for the slides. So that is our time-lapse footage done for today, and here's some nice little shots of what we've done and how the park's looking. So there's the wave pool. I think it looks a lot better in sort of the slightly slimmed down version. Toilet and locker facilities, which again I think look quite nice with the lockers now installed. One thing, I just hope I can get the clipping thing sorted out and put some barriers in, but other than that I think they've turned out quite nice. Over here to the other one with the new slide in the background, and then there's a few other various shots to come. So if you've enjoyed this, please give us a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with all the content. We'll probably do something a bit more meaty in the next episode, start building some big slides or something like that, and really test out the new physics. I think that seems like a good thing. So yeah, we'll do that hopefully in the next couple of days. Any suggestions, comments, anything like that, drop them down below. I'll try and answer as many as I can, and I just appreciate the support. So please subscribe if you've not done so already. Bye guys, thank you ever so much. See you next time. Bye.